So, you have a sequel for me? Yes, sir, I do. It's gonna be called The Karate Kid Part 2. Fitting name. So what happens in the movie? Well, it's gonna catch everyone up to speed with a recap of the last one. And remember how I said there was an epilogue? Yeah. Well, we're gonna open this film with it. Yeah, you told me last time, so what happens? Well, Sensei Kreese is mad at his students for losing the tournament, so he tries to strangle Johnny in the parking lot. Oh my, do they call the police? No, I told you, no one does that here. Oh, right. So anyway, Mr. Miyagi tells him to cut it out, and then Kreese attacks him. Oh, wow. Yeah, he tries to punch Mr. Miyagi, but he gets sidestepped and he puts his hand right through a car window. Oosh. So then he tries to punch Mr. Miyagi with his other hand, but that hand goes through a window too. He's not the brightest, is he? No, sir, he's not. So Mr. Miyagi repeats Kreese's whole no mercy mantra to him, and he acts like he's gonna deliver a powerful karate chop, but then he just honks his nose, and Kreese is so worked up he just faints. Okay, so what happens next? Well, 6 months later, Daniel's at Mr. Miyagi's house when a letter arrives from the chattiest mailman you'll ever meet. Who's it from? From Mr. Miyagi's father. He's dying. Dying? I had no idea he was even still alive. Yeah, he must be pretty old. That's why he's dying. Fair enough. So then Mr. Miyagi heads back to his home country of Okinawa, reluctantly taking Daniel with him. Shouldn't he be in school or college or something? Yeah, he was gonna go to college. His mom saved up the money for him. So he had his education right for the picking, but he wants to go on a trip? He wants to go on a trip. Also, I should mention, we're gonna have this backstory thing where Mr. Miyagi was friends with this guy Sato back when they were kids, and they both learned karate from Mr. Miyagi's dad. Didn't he say in the last movie Okinawan karate was only taught father to son? They made an exception here. You know, I'm gonna have Daniel ask a lot of your questions in the movie so you can hear how annoying they sound. Is Daniel gonna sound that annoying? Oh, just wait for Karate Kid 3. Look, I'm sorry, man. Well, what happened with Miyagi and Sato? Well, their friendship got destroyed because they both liked this girl, Yukie. Well, that's happened with me and my friends before. It never destroyed our friendship, but I guess I could see how it would. Absolutely. They were all so young, and when Mr. Miyagi proposed to Yukie, who was already engaged, Sato, challenged him to a death match. Oh my gosh, yeah, that'll end friendship. It sure will. So what happens when our main characters get to Okinawa? Well, they're almost immediately ambushed by Sato and his edgy nephew Chosen. Sato pretty much owns the place because he bought up a lot of fishing boats, and fishing is pretty much the livelihood of these folk. Right. So Sato tells Mr. Miyagi that he can see his dad, but after that, they'll have their fight. He still wants to fight him? They take this stuff real seriously in Okinawa. I guess so. So how's the situation with Mr. Miyagi's dad? Well, he's on his deathbed, and both his son and Sato are with him when he passes away, and he kind of tries to link their hands with his dying breath, but it doesn't work. He's probably trying to tell them to get along and just stop with the fighting. Probably. Anyway, Sato doesn't think much of it because he's itching to throw down. He tells Mr. Miyagi he'll give him 3 days to mourn, and then they fight. So are Miyagi and Daniel going to try and stay out of his way, avoid being seen around town? They're going to go to every place in town. Oh, they are? Yeah, and Daniel's going to be spending some time with Yukie's niece, Kumiko. So like I said, they go everywhere, and there's this one scene where they stop by Sato's dojo and peek into the training room through the window. Uh-huh. And Chosen's in there taking on several other students and beating them. And Daniel and Kumiko are in plain sight of the window. Yeah, but he's, strong and beating all these skilled fighters. And he doesn't look up and see them? Seems unlikely. Okay, I think you're missing the point here. It establishes how good a fighter he is. I mean, okay. So the bad guys make a bunch of visits to Mr. Miyagi's home, getting more violent each time. Man, they should never have gone on this trip with a maniac in control of it. Pretty much the whole island. You'd think some foreign powers would have come in by now and shut all this nonsense down. Yeah, that'd be a good idea, except it's not. Oh? Yeah, 'cause all the drama hinges on Sato's gripe of a conflict. All of it? All of it? I mean, there's a question raised of whether Kumiko can find a good dance school, but that's kind of not as important as whether Mr. Miyagi's gonna die. Right. Sato even threatens to destroy the village with bulldozers, so Miyagi finally agrees with a heavy heart to fight. So what do Daniel and Kumiko do? Do they try desperately to talk reason into Sato? No, they perform a tea ceremony. Oh, what? Yeah, they saw Mr. Miyagi and Yukie doing it earlier, symbolizing the return of their love, so you could argue that it's in honor of them. I'm sure they'd appreciate it if there wasn't a duel about to transpire, not to mention a storm. What? Yeah, as soon as Daniel and Kumiko finish their tea ceremony, they kiss, and then they get back to town because a storm's shaping up. Oh wow. So everyone heads for the storm cellar and the fight is put off. That makes sense. The lightning could steal your thunder. Glory. Kill. The lightning could strike your opponent dead. Or you. That's right, sir. Anyway, Chozen runs off into the storm. What? Why? Well, he feels disgraced because Daniel rescued this little girl when he wasn't willing to. Huh, so then what happens? Well, Sato got saved by our good guys during the storm, so he returns the next day to help and apologize for all he's done. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, he's like, forgive me, I beg you. And Mr. Miyagi's like, there's nothing to forgive. What? Of course there's plenty to forgive. Not according to Mr. Miyagi. I mean, sure, Sato desecrated his home and tried to murder him and his students several times, but everyone has a bad day. Okay, so what happens next? Well, there's gonna be this festival, right? And there's this small outdoor stadium with seats facing the center where there's a moat and a small platform that you get to by a bridge. You with me so far? Uh-huh. And everyone's gonna be in the seat watching Kumiko do a performance, but then Chozen is gonna freaking swing down the line of Japanese lanterns and hold Kumiko at knife point. Oh no. Yeah, so he's super mad because he feels that Daniel disgraced him, so under Chozen's demand, Daniel crosses over to the platform, throws the bridge into the water, and begins a fight to the death. Man, I really thought this was gonna have a happy ending. What? It was all worked out with Sato being redeemed and all that. Okay, I haven't even told you what happens. Well, isn't it obvious? Chozen wipes Daniel out. What? You were saying in that scene where Daniel looked through the dojo window that I should be impressed with all Chozen's able to do. Well, yeah, but... And I get the impression he's muscle-bound. Yes. Yes, he is, but... And Daniel's kinda scrawny. I guess, but look, Daniel wins, alright? That doesn't make any sense. It's just not realistic. All Daniel has is kata. Well, we can't have our main character dying on the kids. That won't make much money. And you like money, don't you, sir? Oh, you know I do. What to do? How about a drum? A drum? Yeah, a little drum on a stick with paddle ball sides. I don't think that kind of toy's gonna compensate for us killing our main character. Nope, not a toy, sir. I could interject it as a... MacGuffin? I was gonna say plot device, actually. It'll be the secret to Miyagi Karate, and just when it seems Daniel is beat, he'll figure out the way to use the drum successfully. So Chozen loses to it? Oh yes, in a way that makes Johnny running into the crane kick forgivable. Oh. So Daniel asks him if he wants to live or die, and Chozen says die, but Daniel just honks his nose. I remember that from the beginning of the movie. I thought you would. So then Daniel and Kumiko hug. They're both disheveled to say the least. Miyagi gives him a wink and the audience gives him applause. If I were him, I'd rather they give me a bridge and a ride to the hospital. Anyways, what'd you think of the movie? Well, I think it has a lot of potential. Really peaks out the tension with the whole duel to the death thing. Maybe we should leave the plot here. Why? Wait, you mentioned Karate Kid 3 earlier. Yes, sir, I did. Hi, hope you all enjoyed that pitch meeting. I did it about a year ago, but it was really terrible, so I just had to redo it, and hopefully it's much better. Playthrough should be beginning as soon as I get my capture card, maybe in a couple weeks. Click down here to see one of the previous ones of my pitch meeting should be down here. Brian George, if by some chance you see this, really appreciate that. And yeah, have a good day everyone. Peace.